Hi Year 6, so today we're going to read the next section of Chapter 4, The Day of Carwin's Revenge. We're going to read pages 58 to 61 and there will be some questions if you scroll down again as usual underneath this link on our web page. The questions are on an orange background. So if you want to have a little look at those questions in advance, stop the video now and have a little check. Okay. So far in this chapter we have found out that Lokar has made a prediction that there is going to be an event that causes many of the people of Skara Brae to be killed. He's even predicted his own death, and he says that a cloud is going to come from the sea and somehow do something to cause the village to disappear. Historically, we know about that because that is actually how the village did actually disappear, and archaeologists found it many years later. But as this is part of the story, it's just him as the storyteller making a prediction. The men are all quite shocked to hear this news. The men stared around at the thick stone walls, the stone dresser, the stone beds, and the sitting stones that they had known for so long. It was as though the stones trembled in the smoke. "These are strange words, Berno," said, watching Lokar. The old man shook himself as if he were coming out of a dream. A shudder ran round the circle of men. For a while all of them sat silent, each thinking his own thoughts. "It will be dark outside," Lemba said at last. His words were the signal for all of them to rise and pick up the work that they had been doing before Lokar's words shook them into stillness. One by one they took their leave. Lemba took Lokar by the arm. They went by the narrow passage that led to the paved tunnel and went into their own homes. Berno's family crept into their beds, but Berno sat for a long time, staring soberly into the embers of the fire. The next morning was bright and sunny. It was not their turn to herd the sheep, so Callie, Brocken and Tenko went down to the shore. Today, Tenko had promised to take them along the shore in his boat. He took with them his bow and arrows. They raced each other over the sand dunes to the white sands of the Bay of Scale. "I'll reach the boat first," Tenko cried. Callie was fleet-footed and a match for Tenko, who was carrying his weapons. That's our first question for today. It's a vocabulary question. It says in the book, Callie was fleet-footed. What does the word fleet-footed mean? Have a think and we'll talk about the answer in a moment. So Tenko has challenged them by saying, "I'll reach the boat first," and they're all running towards the boat. It says Callie was fleet-footed. It suggests that she's light-footed and she's speedy and she's fast, because it says she is a match for Tenko, who is carrying his weapons. So that suggests that she's keeping up with him and that she's running as fast as he is. He might not have expected that. Okay. Callie was fleet-footed and a match for Tenko, who was carrying his weapons. Neck and neck they raced, with Brocken only a yard or two behind. Almost in the same moment, Callie and Tenko touched the boat together. Laughing, they both claimed victory. "Shall we push the boat down to the sea?" Brocken asked, eager to take his turn with the wooden paddle that Tenko carried. Tenko looked at the state of the tide. "The tide is coming in. If we wait half an hour, we shall not have to pull so far to launch it. While we wait, what about some target practice with the bow and arrow?" Tenko asked Brocken. Brocken was delighted at the idea. "What shall we use for a target?" he asked eagerly. "The rock over there along the shore?" Tenko looked at the rock, frowning a little. "No, it would blunt the point of my arrows. A pity there are no trees here." Callie had an idea. "Let us mark out a circle on the sand dune where it slopes down to the beach." With the point of his arrow, Tenko drew several circles, one inside the other, on the sloping sandbank. "Now let us try it," he said, and measured out 100 paces over the sands of the bay. "We'll shoot from here. I will try it first." Slim and upright, He lifted the bow to his shoulder. The arrow flew right into the heart of the target, the eagle feather fastened to the end of the shaft quivering in the sunshine. "Tenko, that was a fine shot," Callie cried. "Now you, Brocken," Tenko said. Brocken's first shot fell wide of the circle. He clicked his teeth in annoyance. "Go on, laugh," he said. But Tenko did not laugh. "Try again. Hold your bow higher and look along your arrow before you shoot. Remember all I taught you on the hillside." Brocken tried again. This time he hit the circle, not at the centre, but well within it. "I'll bring back the arrows," Callie offered. Brocken tried his hardest and succeeded twice in hitting the centre of the ring. It was when Callie handed back one of the arrows that Tenko saw her wistful look as Brocken took his stance again. "Would you like to try my bow and arrow too, Callie?" Tenko asked. Callie opened her eyes wide. "But I am a girl." That's our next question. Callie made a wistful look. Why? Have a think, and we'll talk about the answer in a moment. So, in the vocabulary box at the question sheet on your page, it tells you that wistful means that she's got a regretful and a longing look on her face. She's longing for something. And because it says, "Would you like to try my bow and arrow too, Callie?" Tenko asked. Callie opened her eyes wide. "But I am a girl." It shows that she would really like to have a go on the bow and arrow and take aim just like Brocken. But she doesn't think she's allowed because she's a girl. I wonder what Tenko will think. "This is no reason why you should not shoot an arrow," Tenko told her. "Oh, Tenko, will you let me?" Callie was breathless with joy. "Yes, take hold like this," Tenko instructed her as he had done Brocken. Callie was so anxious to do well that she listened very carefully to all of Tenko's instructions. She took a careful sighting along the arrow and pulled the cord as taut as it would go. Then she let the arrow fly. Straight into the circle it went, only a hand's length from the exact centre. "Well done," Tenko patted her shoulder. "Try it again, as many times as you like, Callie." Callie had the keen vision of a herd lass, used to watching for straying sheep far off. She was taller than Brocken and able to hold the bow higher. Her third shot hit the exact centre of the circle. Tenko was as pleased as if he had shot it himself. "What did I say? There's no reason why a girl should not shoot an arrow well. You may not be able to shoot as far as a boy, for you have not as much strength in the arm, but you can shoot as straight." Brocken had been running to and fro with the arrows for quite a time. "Do I not get another turn to shoot?" he asked at last. "Why, yes, you shall take it in turns," Tenko said at once. "Listen, why should you not shoot against each other? Turn about to see who hits the circle the most times." The children jumped with delight at the thought of a competition. "Right, then I'll fetch the arrows from the target," Tenko decided. "You start shooting first, Brocken." Soon they were both aiming eagerly at the target. Both of them sent their arrows well within the circle, but although Brocken scored marks on the target, it was Callie's arrow that more often found the centre of the circle. They were all so absorbed in what they were doing that they did not see a figure squirming through the long marram grass on the top of the sand dunes. It was a boy who crouched low as he crept along. When he got near to the end of the sand dunes, he went down on his stomach and pulled himself along. Only a ripple in the marram grass betrayed his presence. Soon he was close to a gap in the dunes where he could peer down to the sands below. That's our next question. It's a predict question. Who could the boy crouched and watching in the sand dunes be? And what do you think will happen next? Have a think and we'll talk about the answer in a moment. So, we know that it's a boy creeping through the sand dunes, and we'll likely know that it's going to be somebody that wants to spy on Tenko. At the moment, we know that the one person in the tribe that doesn't like Tenko very much is Carwin. And since the chapter is called The Day of Carwin's Revenge, we're pretty sure that the boy is likely to be Carwin. As to what will happen next, anything could happen, but we know that Carwin is there to cause trouble. We also know that they're shooting things with a bow and arrow, and they're aiming at the sand dunes. So have a think about what you expect to happen next. With hatred and jealousy in his heart, he watched the children shooting their arrows. He saw Tenko just below him, measuring the shots within the circle and retrieving the arrows. A large round pebble, as big as a clenched fist, lay beside him. His hand closed around it. I wonder what he's going to do with that pebble. Callie first saw the movement among the marram grass. Brocken was shooting. The arrow fell near the centre of the target, not far from Callie's last shot. Callie took the bow from Brocken. She saw Tenko stoop to measure which arrow lay nearest to the bullseye. As he did so, his back was to the sand dune upon which the lad lay hidden. The third arrow was lying at Callie's feet. She swooped on it and fitted it to her bow. The figure on the sand dune rose and stood erect. It was Carwin. He lifted his arm high to crash the stone down on Tenko's skull. Callie let the arrow fly. It flew well and truly to its mark. It pierced Carwin's sheepskin cloak and pinned it to his right shoulder. Carwin uttered a shriek of fear, and the stone dropped from his hand. Tenko sprang round and ran up to the sand dune. Callie and Brocken came running too. Carwin bellowed with pain and terror. He tried to pluck the arrow from his shoulder, but the pain was too much for him. It would not come out. He was white and fainting by the time that Tenko reached him. So that's the end of our pages from chapter 4 for today. I wonder if you managed to predict correctly that he would use the stone to somehow try and hurt Tenko, and whether you would have predicted that one of the children would have shot an arrow at him to protect Tenko. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's, and I hope you're still well. We'll read the next bit tomorrow. Bye.